find your place.
What's up, guys and gals? Brian Tong here, and if you're watching this, it's because you're probably a Lion King fan, and let me tell you, you're in for a treat because I was lucky enough to visit the set, or really a virtual reality movie set slash production studio in Los Angeles back in December of 2017, where they were creating and filming the new Lion King. So it's been a year and a half that I've been keeping all of this under wraps. And making The Lion King was truly a movie-making process like no other that I've seen. And I was part of this select group of journalists who went on site to talk to director Jon Favreau. And there were other members of the production team really there to talk about the process of creating such an iconic version of this film entirely in virtual reality. So there were no cameras allowed inside at all, so you won't see any images from there. Just really our notes and our audio recorders. So this video is going to focus in on our time with Jon. I'll include his sound bites that you can hear what he had to say about directing a film like this, and you're going to really get a lot of great nuggets of info from it. So to start off, we're basically in a warehouse that's been converted to a soundstage located in an area affectionately called Silicon Beach in Southern California. It's this completely open area draped with black curtains that's been converted into really a virtual reality movie studio. And when I was there, I got to look around. There's plenty of cinematography equipment. There was a dolly camera on tracks. There were shelves with different lenses, rows of cameras. There was camera equipment. And then also a lot of HTC Vive setups with controllers. And then they had specific stations connected to screens that were also sectioned off in a different area in this really large rectangular room. Now, there isn't a single live action character in this recreation of Lion King. Every character, every environment, and every set piece is computer generated. So watching how this movie was made, literally, it blew my mind. So The Lion King, in case you didn't figure out, it's created in a VR world, and this is a living and breathing world where you have the entire Pride Lands with the iconic Pride Rock where Simba was presented for the first time. You have the Mbamba Canyon, that's down the way where the Stampede happened. And also you have like the Elephant Grave, that's far off in the distance, way out there, but it's all in this VR world. Now we know technology moves so quickly, so making a movie like this, it wasn't even possible just even a few years ago. And director Jon Favreau, he has a lot of experience with virtual sets. He directed The Jungle Book, and then he was involved in the Marvel movies, obviously from the start, and directing Iron Man. So he elaborated on that with the VR tech that's available today.
And all that we've learned, because much of the team has traveled with us from the last one, and building off of the frustrations we had of how limited the technology was then, even though it was cutting edge at the time, everything changes so much. And also here, what's available too, those of you who are into this type of stuff, you'll see there's a lot of consumer-facing technology that's available to us now that wasn't. We were still using essentially the same tools with Motion Builder and motion capture that was used in Avatar, many years before Jungle Book. But here you have Vive systems, you have Oculus, you have Optitrax, you have all of these tech companies that are looking to break through in virtual reality. And so they've been very cooperative partners, whereas it was harder with the old technology that was bespoke, that was only used for movies. It was hard to get innovation because only a handful of people were using it. Here, whatever we learn ends up cascading down to the consumer because we're really doing R&D, and we're also using, the reason it looks like this and not like the photo real stuff is because this is done in a game engine, and we're using Unity. So really what we're doing here is building out a multiplayer VR filmmaking game.
So they've literally built their own platform for The Lion King. Just to reiterate, it's their own multiplayer VR filmmaking game using the Unity game engine. That's just crazy, okay? Think about that. So they also have engineers on site. They're creating tools for them to use in-game, specifically catered to what they need to make this movie. Those people, they're in an open working space that's right outside the main recording set. So there were rows of computers for animators, designers, visual effects artists, and engineers. And then tech companies, they're learning from them as well because of these like new inventive ways that they're figuring out how to use their equipment. It was just really incredible to see in person.
We build tools in this. So I was in there flying around. I was looking at the monitor, and then all these little those are framing. So I was lining stuff up just to give basic, as though I'm walking around. And when we scout together, I'd be with Caleb. Dashnell over there, and I would kind of line up and say, it's really a lot like being on a real location and doing a rehearsal. And you say, okay, here, and then you could even make notes in the air, and you could use things like laser pointers. We could fly around together, and so what happens is it has the feeling of a live action shoot, because that's the way I learned how to direct. It wasn't sitting looking over somebody's shoulder at a computer. It was being in a real location, and there's something about being in the real 3D environment that makes it, I don't know, just the parts of my brain are firing that fire on a real movie. So a lot of doing a movie is just walking around and talking. And so there'll be 6 of us in there together. Production designer, DP, art department, ADs.
Now, is this all making sense? Think about this. They're just all putting on Vive headsets, and then multiple people are jumping into the world of The Lion King in VR. They're going to specific spots in the world. They're making notes. They're leaving marks for specific shots they want and how they want them framed. They are making The Lion King in VR. And the Pride Lands has kind of become their playground. And not only can they dive into the world, they can manipulate it however they want to get that perfect shot. So they can adjust the lighting. They can change the time of the day. They can move trees or animals around in the background, even if they're blurred out, just to kind of set the shot the way they want it. And once it's locked in, because this is, basically shot and recorded in a game, they can always move things around again in post-production. This is their world.
For example, if we think there's too many hyenas in the scene, we could move them around, or we could even move them as chess pieces. We'll do that sometimes. If it's specific for a shot, we'll grab one, and so somebody will be in VR and moving them in and out with the wand. So you almost rod puppeting them. You don't get the sophisticated. We get good walk cycles because it's a game engine where the foot actually touches the surfaces. But then sometimes we just use chess pieces where they don't move if it's more for framing. So it's a matter of how much we want to fix now, how much we want to fix later.
Sure.
So, but I think that's what's going to actually change and become more robust as we get to the next, whatever the 2.0, 3.0 of this is going to have more to do with puppeting, because that becomes a whole other layer of complexity to it.
Now, during my time there, as we walked around everywhere, we also got to check out a big screen on set of the shot that they were working on during my visit. And the reference visuals they had initially, they're rough, right? It's not like everything is perfectly there, but they were good enough. We saw 3D modeled representations of Simba and Nala, but these aren't going to be like the final product, full rendered characters at this point of the production. They were just working on a scene where they had the 2 of them moving around for one of their iconic song performances. And if you know Lion King, you probably know what I'm talking about. But this isn't, what we saw here, it wasn't just all virtual reality. They're blending traditional live action filmmaking techniques with real equipment and then using it with the state-of-the-art virtual reality tools. And I noticed and asked them, I saw that they had attached an HTC Vive controller to a physical camera, and this allows it to know where the camera is in the virtual world and what direction it's pointing. And then the real camera, right, is operated by legendary cinematographer Caleb Dashnell, where he can control its focus manually and then move it around to react to the action happening inside this virtual world. And we could see his camera shot inside the real world and what it was looking at on screen.
Any opportunity to do motion control cameras, miniatures, force perspective, set extensions, all the stuff like that on Elf, I just love it. But what it does is it gives you a grounding and understanding and appreciating what the technology has to offer, because if you didn't start off with charcoals and pencils and pen and ink, you don't appreciate Photoshop as much. And so now it took me, I think, most of Jungle Book to come up to speed on what this stuff has to offer, thanks to the team who helped me along. And then it becomes about, okay, now from here, now that I have as much facility with this stuff as because it's always changing, what do we want to build and how do we want to push those tools forward?
I'm honestly telling you, I was giddy and just my eyes were wide open and just absorbing all this information like a sponge when I was there, because it is truly unique. So For example, if you wanted to get a shot on a camera dolly that follows Simba and Nala around a hillside, well, you don't have to lay the dolly track down on any difficult terrain like you would on a real set. They can lay the virtual track in the VR world where they want it to go, and then they do have a physical camera dolly and a short run of track. I think it was maybe around 12 feet long or so. So they use this on set. And what that allows is that the physical timing of the dolly shot can be felt in real life, and it's still a manual process, but again, it's done in the virtual world. It's crazy. So when Jon wanted certain scenes shot in IMAX, guess what? He didn't have to go to Africa to shoot it.
I just seen Dunkirk, and it was so cool that the aspect ratio shifts for IMAX. I was like, we could do that, can't we? And we talked to Rob. Rob did some, had some conversations and figured some stuff out. And so we'll actually have IMAX sequences and this is one of them, the song. So when you see this, it looks like it's a pillar box, but really what's going to happen is it'll grow to because that's when we brought the IMAX cameras out to Africa. So it should also contribute to that feel of seeing hopefully that you're seeing something that's real.
I just can't reiterate to you all I'm sure you can see just how ridiculous this project is. It's amazing, and all this work and tinkering and experimentation goes into the final product, and it's really the first of its kind production from start to finish. So Favreau's goal for The Lion King is to bring the story to life using all this new technology, and he also wants to stay true to the source material. And from everything I've seen, he's absolutely doing that with his team. So there is still so much to talk about. This is just like a little different type of video that I wanted to showcase the side of technology being used in movies and with my crazy access from Disney. But I wanted to give you all an inside look at how this movie technology and VR tech is evolving and just coming together with amazing results. I'm so blown away by the process, even revisiting this, like I told you, a year and a half later. So this is first one of hopefully other features as we get closer to the movie to give you all more behind the scenes on how Jon Favreau and his team created the incredible movie that is The Lion King. So if you like this video, hey, give it a thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, bing, to watch my latest videos when they drop. But thank you all so much for watching. Take care, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
A wee moe,